Okay, so using Implicit Harvard, I took 3 tests today. My first test was about being Native American, the second test was about weight, and the last test was about disability. My results for each test were pretty much what I thought it would be. Um, it was actually very informative for each test, and the activity was pretty fun to do. Now, what I would say is the most surprising is how your mind relates certain words to whatever test you're taking. So, for example, the weight test, I had to decide between images of a thin silhouette of a person or a fairly thicker silhouette of a person. And the words they used were fat and thin. So, at first, with the fat side, you had to press the buttons E for thin and positive words, and I for fat and negative words. That was the first step of the test. I think that it was very enlightening, you can say, to see how they related the negative words to being fat, firstly, and the positive words with being thin. Now, in the middle of the test, it did change where fat was related with positive words and thin was related with negative words. It's surprising because it's kind of like common now. Most people prefer thinner people. They prefer to make fun of people who are overweight. So, in a way, it was surprising, but it actually wasn't, just because it's something that you usually hear, whether you're on social media or just in public. Even growing up in middle school or high school, kids were teased for their weight, but thinner kids were not. I didn't have a feeling based off the results of each test. The feeling was mostly just how the tests were organized. I feel like with words like fat and thin, it can be very discouraging. And as a person who has been both thin and fat, I guess you can say, it is always going to feel discouraging just because of how an overweight person is treated. I believe that if an overweight person was treated with words of encouragement or words that sound encouraging, it wouldn't make a person feel bad when they hear the word fat. Especially with today's society and how women are to be viewed and how they want to be viewed based off what they see on TV. Being called fat is not always a good thing. But at the same time, body positive is becoming bigger than it ever was. More people are confident in themselves. Although with a test that just says fat and thin, whether a woman or a man is confident or not, it still can be discouraging. And then with the Native American test, it was white American and Native American. The word past was associated mostly with Native American, while present and positive words were associated with white American. There is always going to be a debate between both races as well as many other races. But I don't feel like that Native American should be associated with the past. Yes, we are a group that is not, how would you put it, vast anymore. There is not a lot of Native Americans around, or we prefer to be secluded or on our reservations. But using the word past and extinct kind of feels like you're talking about an animal. And I feel like extinct is a little bit harsh to relate with Native American culture. In order to increase my cultural humility, I'd like to learn about Native American culture. I do know about it fairly enough based off my own family, but I feel like educating yourself based off of historical and cultural aspects like traditions or traditional beliefs or values and practices can help increase my cultural humility based off of Native American communities. And then just seeking out resources for weight management or how to eat healthy or take care of your skin, anything that would pertain to my weight, that can help as well. I myself suffer from PCOS. Apparently, I've had it all my life, but I've always been very thin. And I've been gaining weight for the past 2 years based off of PCOS. Sometimes it's not controlled. You can't control your weight if you have something like PCOS. Naturally, it is very hard to get that weight off. So just even reading up on that, not every time a person is heavy has to do with overeating or anything like that. Sometimes it is issues out of your control. It could be health issues or anything like that, hormonal issues like PCOS. So as far as weight, I'd say for me to increase my cultural humility with weight or weight management would be to consult with a health provider. And then lastly, my disability. I have scoliosis, which in itself can really separate you from people that do not have scoliosis. I feel like embracing both my heritage of Native American and scoliosis, embracing the fact that I'm a Native American with scoliosis, can also help me as well. Doing research on both, there may be different things that I can find, and just embracing what I am, who I am, and where I come from is a benefit in all of itself. I feel like scoliosis is already difficult, and with being Native American and learning about the things I've learned about through family as well as research, I can actually discover something that I probably never knew that can help me with being Native American with scoliosis. For example, cultural heritage and physical condition, it can lead to discoveries from the past that I didn't know about. For example, there had to be a time that Native Americans experienced scoliosis. What did they do? How did they combat the pain from having scoliosis? What were their remedies? What was their advice or their scientific discoveries? I feel like that information and that research can help me as well. Also, self-reflection and being mindful of my weight, my Native American background and scoliosis, and just embracing all of myself and being mindful. Just the fact of being open-minded and empathetic, it can help me with a mutual understanding of everything with myself as well as with others. And I feel like that in whole can give me a perspective on myself as well as other people that can relate to having scoliosis or being overweight or being from a different ethnical background and being different from most people around them. And then just cultivating cultural humility in relation to those three things, I feel like it can deepen my understanding of myself and others. Just understanding alone can take you to higher heights. I feel like when you do understand yourself, you're better at understanding other people. Once you understand yourself and you've discovered those resources to help yourself, you can give that knowledge and that advice to other people and help them as well. And that goes for all three of those things. It doesn't just have to be physical help, it can be mental help. And I feel like that understanding fosters meaningful connections, and sometimes those connections can benefit you in other areas of your life, whether it's your education, your career, or even your love life. So basically, just being more compassionate and accepting and understanding, as well as curious of myself and my differences, can create a better for someone else. Maybe I feel like I do feel like if I do my research and I come up with discoveries and ways to help myself, that does take away the hard work for someone else who probably doesn't know research is an option.